It was a day of short-lived anger and of caving into pressure. First, Europe's farmers, especially the French, created chaos outside the European Union buildings. They were protesting about what they see as onerous environmental measures and being undercut by cheap imports. Hundreds of tractors paraded through the streets of Brussels. By mid-afternoon, the French government had agreed to the farmers' main demands. They were probably home by tea.
It's a European mistake.
The Hungarian leader put out a video to show that he's a man of the people. He likes to throw political eggs at the EU. He came to the meeting this morning saying he would block a 4-year-long €50 billion aid programme for Ukraine. Agreement has to be unanimous. Other European leaders have had enough of him. They know he's a friend of Vladimir Putin.
There's no problem with so-called, Ukraine fatigue, for sure. We have Orban fatigue now here in Brussels. We have so many things to solve.
But within an hour of the meeting starting, Orban had caved. Possibly because the aid, which is to keep Ukraine's economy afloat and rebuild if possible, will be reviewed after 2 years, and Hungarian money won't be involved.
Today is indeed a very special day. The European Council reconfirmed Europe's unwavering commitment to stand with Ukraine. We all know that Ukraine is fighting for us, so we will support them with the necessary funding and provide them with the much-needed predictability they deserve.
President Zelenskyy addressed the meeting, relieved more than anything else.
This is a clear signal that Ukraine will withstand and that Europe will withstand. It is also really important that this decision was taken unanimously by all of you, all 27 member states, and it is yet another clear sign of your strong unity and support of Ukraine.
It was the second piece of good news for him. Today, the Ukrainian military put out video they say shows a successful maritime drone attack on a Russian warship in the Black Sea. It comes after strong rumours that Zelenskyy is considering sacking his military chief, Valery Zaluzhny, after months of tension between the two men. An idea that many see as disastrous because Zaluzhny is loved by Ukrainian soldiers and respected by Ukraine's foreign backers. On the front line, Ukrainian troops are short of ammunition, not least because European countries haven't supplied what they promised. Ukraine is failing to recapture territory occupied by Russia. The fear is, without much more military and general aid from Europe and the US, it never will.
Lindsay Hilson. Well, earlier I spoke to Yaroslav Trofimov, who's chief foreign affairs correspondent at the Wall Street Journal and has just published a new book about Russia's war in Ukraine. Our Enemies Will Vanish, it's called. I asked him about the deal giving Ukraine €50 billion in funding. How important did he think it was?
I think it's a critical lifeline, especially because American funding has dried up because of Republican opposition in Congress. And also, it's a multi-year deal, which really gives a long-term signal of stability and commitment to Ukraine at a time when Russia really expects to outweigh and outlast the Western will to support Ukraine.
And this is about keeping schools, hospitals, the Ukrainian economy running, right? This financial package.
Well, yes, but obviously money is fungible, and there is also military aid as part of the European aid, and altogether, Europe accounts for about half of the total Western aid provided to Ukraine. So it's all critical to keep the society afloat and also to keep the military going in this very brutal fight that still goes on.
But the military can't keep going at the current intensity without US military aid, and that is stuck, isn't it?
Very much so. And we already see effects on the battlefield. If there was a parity in ammunition last autumn, now Russia is outgunning Ukraine by about 5-1, in part because Russia has secured about 1 million shells from North Korea, according to American officials, whereas American supplies have dried up.
The reports today that the Ukrainian military has sunk another Russian warship, but other than that, it's not exactly going to plan, is it, on the military front for Ukraine? Do you think that Russia is just going to try and grind this out and that eventually Ukraine will have to compromise?
Russia is definitely trying to grind it out, but what does it mean to compromise? Russian officials all the way down from Putin have said that they want much more. They want Odessa, they want Kyiv. Really, the Russian goal is to extinguish the Ukrainian state as it is and the Ukrainian nation. And I don't think this is something the Ukrainians can really compromise on. And so far, there is heavy fighting on the front line, but the Russians haven't really been able to advance much. The front line has been more or less stable for more than a year now. Whereas in the Black Sea, Ukraine has been scoring victory after victory, and this missile cruiser that was sank today, and Russia has confirmed it has been sank, is a major achievement. It's one more, important warship that Russia no longer has, and it cannot replenish its fleet because the straits are closed by Turkey.
Russia is also counting, isn't it, somehow on a possible fracturing of Ukrainian unity. We've had these intriguing reports about President Zelenskyy asking his military commander to step down and being told that he wouldn't. What's going on?
Well, nothing has been announced officially, and Zelensky's spokesman today once again said, there has been no decision to fire General Zelenskyy, the commander of the armed forces. Having said that, there has been a history of tension between the two men, which is not uncommon in democracies. Remember General MacArthur, who also had tensions with the American president. The bottom line is that President Zelenskyy has legal authority to fire General Zelenskyy. Will he do it? Time will tell.
And there's talk, isn't there, about General Zelenskyy? He's a really popular figure. There's internet memes of him and posters. And does Zelenskyy see him as a threat? Could Zelenskyy stand against Zelenskyy in a presidential election? Is that what's really happening?
Well, Zelenskyy is clearly very popular, especially among the troops. And what I've seen as I traveled across Ukraine, on the front lines, whenever Ukrainian soldiers would capture a town or a village, the first thing they would do would stencil portraits of Zelenskyy on the walls. Not Zelenskyy. But Zelenskyy himself has repeatedly said he doesn't harbor any political ambitions. And Zelenskyy has not accused him of doing so publicly. And there are murmurs among aides and advisors to Zelenskyy who may fear Zelenskyy. But that's very much this sort of conflict in the shadows. There has been no conflict in the open.
Does it weaken President Zelenskyy, though, this idea that he's trying to take out a popular general?
What weakens President Zelenskyy is this leaks and rumors and lack of clarity. Ukrainians, I think, are expecting things to be clarified one way or another, because this limbo is really hurtful to the spirit, both on the front line and in the cities behind the front line.
Yaroslav Trofimov, thank you so much for speaking with us. Thank you.
Thank you.